1944. The world was at war. Japan was fighting on every front, across the Pacific, across Asia, across the ocean. The Japanese Empire was built on one unbreakable principle, Bushido, the way of the warrior, death before dishonor. Surrender was not an option. It was not even a word. A true Japanese soldier fought until his last breath, or he did not deserve to call himself a soldier at all. This was not propaganda. This was belief, deep, unshakable, absolute. And no soldier believed it more completely than a young intelligence officer named Hiroo Onoda. He was born in 1922 in Kainan, a small city in Wakayama Prefecture, Japan. He grew up in a country that worshipped discipline, loyalty, and sacrifice. By the time he was 20 years old, Japan was at war, and Hiroo Onoda was ready to serve. He was not an ordinary soldier. He was trained as an intelligence officer, guerrilla warfare, survival tactics, how to live off the land, how to fight behind enemy lines, how to keep fighting when everything around you has collapsed. His instructors recognized something in him, a quality that most soldiers never develop: absolute commitment to duty, above everything else, above comfort, above fear, above even his own survival. In December 1944, Hiroo Onoda received his orders. He was being sent to Lubang Island, a small island in the Philippines. His mission was to gather intelligence, disrupt enemy operations, and hold the island. His commanding officer gave him one final instruction, one order that would define the next 30 years of his life. You are to continue fighting, no matter what happens, no matter what you hear. You are never to surrender. Hiroo Onoda saluted and stepped onto the boat. He did not know that he would not see Japan again for 30 years. Lubang Island was small, heavily forested, remote, the perfect place for guerrilla warfare. Onoda arrived with a small group of soldiers. Together they moved into the jungle, setting up positions, planning ambushes, preparing for the fight ahead. The fight came, and then something unexpected happened. August 15th, 1945. Emperor Hirohito made a radio broadcast to the entire Japanese nation. It was the first time most Japanese citizens had ever heard his voice. Japan was surrendering. The war was over. Back in Japan, people wept in the streets, some from relief, some from shame, some from grief. But on Lubang Island, deep in the Philippine jungle, Hiroo Onoda heard nothing. Nobody came to tell him, nobody reached him, and so he kept fighting. The months passed, then the years. Onoda and his small group of soldiers continued their mission, gathering intelligence, ambushing supply lines, living off the jungle. They ate coconuts, bananas, whatever the jungle provided. They repaired their uniforms by hand, maintained their weapons obsessively, built shelters from jungle materials. They were soldiers, and soldiers had a mission, so they carried out their mission, day after day, month after month, year after year. Then the leaflets came. Planes flew over the jungle, dropping thousands of papers, each one saying the same thing: the war is over. Japan has surrendered. Come out of the jungle. You are free to go home. Onoda picked up one of the leaflets, read it carefully, then set it down. Enemy propaganda, a trick designed to lure Japanese soldiers out of hiding. He had been trained to expect exactly this. He threw the leaflet away and went back to his mission. His family tried to reach him. They recorded messages, pleading with him to come home. His mother, his brothers, his sisters. Their voices dropped into the jungle from passing aircraft. Onoda heard them, and his heart broke, but his training was stronger than his heart. The enemy was clever. They had recordings of his family's voices. They were using them to break him, to make him lower his guard. He would not fall for it. He kept fighting, one by one. The soldiers with him gave up. Some surrendered, some were killed, some simply disappeared into the jungle. Until Hiroo Onoda was completely alone. One man, one rifle, one mission, in a war that had ended years ago. The Philippine villagers knew he was there. They had encountered him. Some had been frightened by him. Some had tried to communicate with the outside world. But the jungle was vast, and Onoda was skilled, and he always disappeared before anyone could reach him. In 1959, the Japanese government made an official declaration: Hiroo Onoda was legally dead. He was very much alive, somewhere in the Philippine jungle, still fighting, still loyal, still waiting for orders that never came. The years continued to pass. The 1950s became the 1960s. Japan rebuilt itself from the ashes of defeat, became an economic powerhouse, a modern nation. Tokyo transformed into one of the most advanced cities on Earth. While Hiroo Onoda, 40 years old now, 50 years old, continued to patrol his jungle, continued to maintain his rifle, continued to believe that the war was still going on. He had been in the jungle for over 20 years. His uniform was worn and patched, his boots repaired dozens of times, his face weathered and deeply lined, his hair turning gray. But his eyes were still sharp, still focused, still loyal. He was not a confused man, he was not a broken man, he was simply a soldier, following his orders, the only orders he had ever received. Then in 1974, something extraordinary happened. A young Japanese adventurer named Norio Suzuki had made himself a list. 3 things he wanted to find before he died: a panda, the abominable snowman, and Hiroo Onoda. Most people thought Onoda was dead, or a legend, or both. Norio Suzuki disagreed. He packed his backpack, flew to the Philippines, and walked into the jungle. He called out Onoda's name, day after day, moving deeper into the forest, following old trails, looking for signs of human presence. And then one day, he found him. Hiroo Onoda, 52 years old, lean and weathered, still in his Imperial Japanese Army uniform, still carrying his rifle, still on patrol. The 2 men stared at each other, neither believing what they were seeing. Suzuki told him the war was over, had been over for 29 years. Onoda listened, and then shook his head. He would not surrender, not to a civilian, not to anyone. He had his orders, and he would follow them, until his commanding officer personally told him otherwise. Norio Suzuki returned to Japan and told the authorities what he had found. The Japanese government began searching for Onoda's former commanding officer, Major Yoshimi Taniguchi. They found him, not in a military headquarters, not in a government office. In a bookshop, working quietly, selling books, just an old man living a quiet life. When they told him Onoda was still alive, still fighting, still waiting for orders, Major Taniguchi went completely silent. Then he said, "I will go to him." March 9th, 1974, Major Yoshimi Taniguchi walked into the Philippine jungle, an old man now, wearing civilian clothes, carrying official orders. He found Hiroo Onoda, and he stood before him, and he gave him his final order. The war is over. Japan surrendered in 1945. You are hereby ordered to cease all military activity and surrender your weapons. Hiroo Onoda stood completely still for a long moment. 29 years of fighting, 29 years of loyalty, 29 years of believing that one day his commanding officer would come. And here he was. Hiroo Onoda removed his field cap, unloaded his rifle, laid his sword on the ground, his ammunition, his dagger. All still in perfect working condition after 29 years in the jungle. And then, for the first time since 1945, he wept. When Hiroo Onoda returned to Japan, the entire nation stopped. Here was a man who had given everything, who had asked for nothing, who had simply done his duty as he understood it for 29 years, alone in a jungle on the other side of the world. Some called him a hero, some called him a tragedy, some called him a reminder of what absolute loyalty looks like. He was 52 years old, and the world he returned to was nothing like the world he had left. Cars, television, modern buildings, a Japan that had risen from defeat to become one of the most powerful nations on Earth. And he had missed all of it, in a jungle, fighting a war. That ended before most of his countrymen's children were born. Hiroo Onoda lived the rest of his life with dignity. He wrote a book about his experiences. He moved to Brazil for a time. He ran a nature school for young people in Japan, teaching survival skills, teaching discipline, teaching the values he had lived by in the jungle. He died on January 16, 2014. He was 91 years old. At his funeral, Japan mourned, not for a killer, not for a criminal, but for a man who represented something that the modern world rarely sees: total, absolute, unwavering loyalty. Was he right to keep fighting? Was he wrong? Was he a hero? Was he a victim of his own beliefs? Perhaps the answer is all of those things at once. What we know for certain is this: Hiroo Onoda was given an order, and he followed it for 29 years, alone, in the dark, in the jungle, without recognition, without reward, without anyone even knowing he was still there. And when his commanding officer finally came and finally told him it was over, he laid down his weapons and he wept, because the war was finally over.